Research Talks podcast here on Stopbox with Alan Greenware. Today it is a Research Talk special, just the one company, Evrima PLC, a company that probably many people haven't heard of. We haven't talked about this company much at all, really, on Stopbox or on Research Talks. It is an Aquis Exchange listed company with the ticker EVA. But today, Alan, you're going to tell us all about the company who have had a lot of recent news, I think, haven't they?
I mean, this company. Good morning, everyone. By the way, we live in rapidly altering times, and rest in peace, Your Majesty, after an incredible 70 years.
Indeed.
Yes, of course. This company is quite unique in that it's a mining and exploration investment company that identifies opportunities that it believes can deliver growth, and it brings a raft of resources to the table to enable it to do that, including capital skills or skills in leveraging up on financial instruments to assist the companies that it's investing into, creatively structured investments, alignment with management and so on. And that's through the team that actually run the business. And before I go into the assets the company has, I'm just going to briefly discuss the board. So we have Simon Grant-Rennick, who is the exec chairman, and Simon really needs no introduction. He's been established in the industry for many years, from graduated from Cambridge School of Mines, and has spent many years working both in the public and private sector, running companies and engaged with companies and institutions in Uganda, Botswana, Malawi, and also Bermuda as well. He's currently a non-exec director, as well as being chairman at Evrima PLC. He's currently an exec chairman, non-exec director at UK SPAC PLC, iGrain, one of the investee companies that Vela Technologies is invested into, and also AAA Cap Limited. The chief executive is Burns Bohe. And Burns, of course, is also founder and chief executive at Glen Parney Group. And Glen Parney acts as a cornerstone investor into multiple companies looking into mining, technology, and other assets. And he's very visible on social media. Conducts a lot of interviews. I know you've interviewed him, Mark. And of course, he's heading up the company. So we then have Guy Miller, who's a non-executive director. He's a corporate finance director at Peterhouse, and of course we know Peterhouse well. And these three together basically have identified a series of opportunities, which makes up Evrima PLC. Now, Evrima is listed on the Aquis market, the Aquis growth market. The shares have traded as high as 4.2p. In fact, no, they trade as high as 6p on the year, and they're currently trading at just over 2p, giving the company a market capitalization of 1.65 million. And I think when you listen to the story and the story that of the assets that the company has, you'll then start asking the same questions that I'm asking, which is why this company is only valued at 1.65 million. So the company has three primary investments. The first investment will need no introduction. In Kalahari Key Minerals, which has an 8.93% project interest in the Malopo Farms project. And of course, Power Metal Resources ultimately will hold the additional 87.71% of that asset. Now, as we know, in recent weeks, Power Metal Resources made a landmark discovery there. It was announced on the 16th of August. The company identified through an initial drill hole a large, it penetrated the edge of what had been identified through aeromagnetic surveys, a magnetic conductor which bought nickel sulfide mineralization, bringing up nickel at 0.443% from 445 meters down, and essentially confirmed what the planning for Malopo up to that point had been building up to. So this is an incredibly exciting find, and of course, as Paul Johnson said in that announcement, it's potentially one of the more significant announcements the company has released in its three-year history as Powermetal. Well, I'd say it's probably the most significant, because what that announcement did, it moved the valuation of the company, which is currently trading then at about 0.9p. It moved it from a valuation of about 14 to 15 million pounds sterling, all the way up to the current level of 23 million. In fact, no, it was actually higher than that. It's come back a tiny bit since that time. So it added really a full 9 million to the valuation of the company, and that's just on the one asset. And of course, when I've spoken about power metals in the past, power metal resources in the past, I've always stated, and I think the move justifies my view, that one of power metal, the projects run by power metal, coming to fruition could potentially dwarf the size of the company market cap as a whole. And certainly I think that movement indicated that was an initial find in a drill hole. So off the back of that, you've got a company which is, of course, Evrima PLC, which through Kalahari Key Minerals holds nearly a 9% interest in that. Did the share price move? It didn't. It didn't move one little bit. And I think this has really surprised me. I think it actually fell slightly. There is I don't think the market has appreciated or realized just what is happening at Malopo Farms, or indeed has recognized the fact that Evrima holds a stake. So it's hugely significant. And as we know, off the back of that news, Power Metal raised just over $1 million. In fact, they secured 280,000 from one investor to fast track and ramp up the drill program there. So from Power Metal's standpoint, of course, in a very few weeks, we're going to find out a lot more about Malopo, and hopefully the drills that go into the ground will look at that magnetic conductor, and the drill holes will pull out data that will further support the size of the conductor. And of course, then on, the sky really is the limit. But at the very least, the Evrima share price should be moving in tandem with Power Metal, reflecting that increase in value. But it hasn't. So straight away there, from my standpoint, it's a slam dunk buy. But this is one of three primary investments owned by Evrima.
What percentage was it, Alan? Just remind me. 8%, did you say?
8.93%. So just under 9%. Just under 9%. So on the back of that, as I say, so you've got a company that's worth 1.6 million market cap currently. If it had moved in proportion or in the same way that the Power Metal share price moved, the Power Metal share price moved or took the market cap from about 15 million up to nearly up to, I think it was 25 million. Then it came back a bit, and of course it came back because Power Metal raised money at 1.4p off the back of that, and of course that's the market cap currently reflects the share price at 1.5p. But the share price of Evrima should have moved proportionally or in proportion with the movement of the Power Metal share price. And of course, as we know, it didn't. So straight away, when you see that, it's an absolute screaming buy. But there are two other dimensions to this investment proposition, which I think really investors really should pick up and listen to. I'm going to come to Eastport, in which EVA holds a 6.85% stake. Last of all, I'm firstly going to focus on the second one, which is a stake the company has in Premium Nickel Resources. This is a TSX venture listed company, Epico PNRL, in which Evrima holds 1.14. Well, it holds 1,114,115 shares. So it's just over 1.1 million shares in the company.
Mm-hmm.
It also has 12,500 warrants in the company, and this company has just come back to market, and I'll get to that announcement shortly because it needs to be understood in context with the other announcements and activities the company has been engaged in to date. But the Premium Nickel Resources share price is currently $1.90. That's a Canadian dollar, of course, one Canadian dollar at 90 cents. The share price hit recent highs of $2.60. So by my calculations, that makes the stake in Premium Nickel Resources worth 1.398 million. So this is, of course, in addition to the Malopo Farms project. So on the back of the numbers here, I think you can see where we're going with this. When we can say this company is substantially undervalued, or the actual value of the assets simply hasn't been realized in the trading price on the market at present.
Mm-hmm.
So a bit more about Premium Nickel Resources. Premium Nickel Resources is its primary asset is its 100% owned Celebi mine in Botswana. The company has also got assets in Greenland, Canada, and Morocco. Now, Celebi covers in Botswana 11,500 hectares. It's about 150 kilometers west of Francistown, and the asset there primarily consists of two key mine shafts known as Celebi and Celebi North, at which there is power and water, full infrastructure. Historically, production started back in the 80s, went all the way through to 2016 after a major failure at the Fikwi processing facility, which is nearby. Since that time, since the early 2020s, PNRL started to digitize the existing data on the mine and the area, and it also produced a 3D model. And given that historical estimates have provided an indicated resource at 7.83 million tons at just under 0.9% nickel and 1.5% copper, that equates to basically 155,000 tons of nickel and 253,000 tons of copper, based on historical data, of course. So this is highly significant when we come to the third investment, Eastport, which holds a raft of assets in Botswana. But I think, just to reiterate those 2 points, you've got a stake that's already worth £1,398,000 in today's money. That's in sterling converted from Canadian dollars. So we then come to Eastport. Now, Eastport Ventures is a privately owned Canadian company. It's got 5 projects in Botswana. Evrima holds 6.85% in Eastport Ventures, and it also has 1.5 million warrants which expire in June 2027. So those in terms of mining company evolution, those are pretty well lifetime warrants. There's a strike price of 30 cents. Or 30 Canadian cents, and if these are exercised, that'll take Evrima's stake from 6.85% up to 10%. Now, given the raft of assets, I think the company will almost certainly do that. So I mentioned that Premium Nickel Resources own the Celebi mine. The first asset that is owned by Eastport is the Celebi Nickel, Copper and Cobalt project, which, as the name would imply, is adjacent to the Celebi mine. So this is the license areas. It's 4 licenses which cover an area totaling 2,100 square kilometers. Obviously, with the Celebi mine, we've had the historic production there. The geology across the area is very similar, and this is the company made an announcement on that, which I'll come to shortly. I'm going to finish off by running through all the latest announcements and relating them back to the projects. We then had the Matsitsama copper project, and again, all of these projects are grouped very closely together in Botswana. So, from a strategic and operational standpoint, it's very advantageous for the company, and it's not having to travel too far to manage all of them. So Matsitsama consists of 6 licenses covering 1,668 square kilometers, and this is owned by a subsidiary company of Eastport Matsitsama Minerals, and again, there will be sort of further developments and news on that as we go forward. We then come to the Kang nickel, copper, and platinum group metals project. This area consists of 2 licenses that cover 1,345 square kilometers. Now, this is significant because it's immediately to the northeast of the Malopo Farmers project, and of course, we talked about Malopo earlier and what they've already found there. So, it's not inconceivable that some of the magnetic anomalies that have been identified at Malopo could overlap into the license areas owned by Eastport at the Kang nickel, copper, and platinum group metals project. So again, there will be further works undertaken from there as we push forward. Mm-hmm. There is then the Foley uranium project, 2 licenses that consist of just under 1,000 square kilometers. Now, this is interesting in that it borders ACAP Energy's asset, which is a uranium asset. Now, ACAP Energy is a company that has an asset with potentially 822 million tons of uranium, and the company has a market cap currently of $60 million. So again, given that some of the assets from ACAP could potentially overlap into the Foley project area, that also could bring some very exciting upside in the near future for Eastport and consequently Evrima as well. So the final asset there is the Juan diamond project, and this is a much smaller area. It's 100 square kilometers, 2 licenses, which is adjacent to the Debswana Juan diamond mine. Now, within this license area, there are 3 kimberlite pipes, and of course, as we know from listening recently to Botswana diamonds, the kimberlite pipes are the geological anomalies that geologists seek because they are host to the rocks that will in time create diamonds or indeed host diamonds. Through some recent work that was undertaken, further targets had been identified, and of course, a drilling campaign was undertaken there recently, and results are due back from that. So that summarizes the Eastport investment package. So with Evrima PLC, you've got the near 9% holding at the Malopo Farms project through Kalahari Key Minerals. You've got the stake in Premium Nickel Resources, which based on a share price of $1.90 is worth in sterling terms $1,398,000. Mm-hmm. Also got 12,500 warrants there. And then, of course, we've got the interests that I've just outlined there in Eastport with Evrima's 6.85% holding, which, if it exercises the warrants, could go up to 10%. Mm-hmm. So, with all of those assets, all of a sudden during August, the news flow started to ramp up. Now, Premium Nickel Resources was suspended prior to completion of a reverse takeover with North American Nickel. That's now been completed, so the company's come back to market with that 250 Canadian dollar market capitalization, and I've just outlined again the stake that Evrima has in Premium Nickel. And then on August 29th, we heard that Eastport launches an exploration program at the Celebi copper project, southeast of the Celebi mine, which of course is owned by Premium Nickel Resources. The company will be undergoing the soil sampling program, focusing primarily on the electromagnetic signatures that have come back from these surveys that have been overflown in the area. And then on the following day, August the 24th, Premium Nickel Resources completed the acquisition of another mine, the Selkirk mine, also in Botswana. And again, what they've got for that is the mine, the complete mine and infrastructure, 4 prospecting licenses, former operated by the Tati Mining Company. Metallurgical testing of samples is currently underway at SGS Ontario there, and this mine is also southeast of Francis Town by some 28 kilometers, 75 kilometers north of the Celebi mine. So again, in geographical terms, and that context from an operational standpoint, still very close and easy for management to visit all of the assets, within certainly within a week and get around to sort of see and view and speak to the team on the ground there. Then on August the 25th, we had study results back from the Selkirk mine, which identified some pretty impressive numbers. Nickel concentrate identified 10% nickel and 6% copper. And indeed, the chief executive of Premium Nickel said it was an important step to determine the future or the potential future value at Selkirk. And then, of course, after that, we had the news from Power Metal, where it was commencing drilling at Malopo. So, Evrima, just to repeat the numbers to you, Evrima is an Aquis-listed company. Shares are traded as high as 6p and as low as 2p on the year, but currently trading at 4.1p. 4.2p. So that gives it a market capitalization of 1.6 million. And what you get for that is a 9% stake in the Malopo Farms project, which took the Power Metal market capitalization from around 14 million up to 24 million. So and there was no movement in the Evrima share price. We've got the stake in Premium Nickel Resources, which since it relisted following the reverse takeover of North American Nickel, is now worth 1,398,000 sterling. Plus, it's got 12,500 warrants. And then we have the interest in the Esport Ventures, which owns the Celebi nickel cobalt and copper project, the Matsitsama copper project, the Kang project, and the Foley uranium project, and of course the Juan diamond project. So again, potential for Evrima to own up to 10% of Esport. So I think this company is hugely undervalued, and it's only a matter of time before investors get on board this and start and propel the price back up to where it should be, which frankly, looking at this, should be many times where it is now.
Okay, well, thank you, Alan. That summarises everything up there very well. Is Evrima then, do they have any active projects, or is it more that they have stakes in projects that are active then by that other party?
Yeah, they're a mining investment company, so they are reliant on the other companies to undertake the work on the projects for them. But given that there's a lot of overlap with Esport, for example, Burns Bowie is on the board of Esport, so the company is active too. But obviously, Evrima is a mining investment group, and often what happens is when the valuation in one project asset is reached, then it may well sell shares or extract some value from that in order to invest into another project. So certainly from Burns Bowie's point of view, he has the interests on the operational standpoint through Esport with those companies, and of course he's got the investor interest through Evrima. And I think once people take a closer look at the company and the assets it has. And I mean, even on the basis that we could say the company is currently valued on its Premium Nickel Resources stake, probably just about on that. There's no premium at all for anything that's held through Esport, and no premium for the upside that we've seen recently with the stake in Kalahari Key Minerals.
Yeah, indeed. So potentially they're another opportunity to get exposure to maybe that Malopo Farms project at a much reduced price.
Yes, yeah, indeed. It's an opportunity to get in on the ground floor still at Malopo, pre the price spike.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Alan. That does sum up that company pretty well there as a mining investment opportunity. Do you think they will plan to take further stakes? Do you know much about the business plan, and is it capital growth, dividends, or what?
I think it's probably a combination, but because they can bring so much to the table, because they have a very experienced mining team running the business. I get the feeling they're going to be more than just investors going forward. I do think they could be very much more hands-on. But as we've seen with other mining investment companies, the projects will advance and maybe hit a new value point, and then some of that money's taken off the table and moved into other projects. But I think given the news flow, I think with the investments they already have, there's going to be a ton of news flow in the next few months anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Alan. That's Evrima PLC, EVA, over on the Aquis Exchange. Thank you, Alan, for giving us the investment case today, and we'll catch up again in a week's time, I guess.
Thank you, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.